Hello and welcome to the second episode of Conversations with T. This is T herself, and I'm here with a very good friend of mine, Miss Aqsa from India. How have you been?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, I have been very well. And Assalamu alaikum to you. How
Walaikum.
have you been?
I've been alright, alhamdulillah. It's
Alhamdulillah, to hear.
quite late, but yeah. Um,
It is quite late, but it is all right.
yeah. Tell us a bit about yourself. What are you currently doing?
I am an introvert, and therefore, I like writing. I like being by myself. I find confidence in my own self. I like being with my, let's say, thoughts, with my just celebrating myself. I am often found doing that. So currently, owing to the fact that I am more into writing, I have been writing, yes, and journaling a bit here and there, but not, you can perhaps you can say it is just a side hobby sort of thing, but nothing that takes up too much of my time, and just something to keep my mind a little easy and a little unfrustrated, you can say. Yes, so currently I'm writing.
Yeah, I can relate to that actually. I remember when I was in America for my undergrad, I did have a blog for some time, but it was just for fun. I didn't use it for business purposes or anything. I think I mostly wrote about personal things, but yeah, I did blog, and then after a while I stopped for some reason. But after I moved to London, I began to journal, and this is something which I still do today. Even though I have been inconsistent with writing every day, I love journaling nonetheless. It's honestly so therapeutic, and I just love how amazing it is for our mental health. And I also like how I can write down my thoughts on paper and I can physically see them in front of me. I can then use that information to make the changes that I need to, and I think that's an excellent I think that's excellent for my personal growth. And I would say the same for, I think, everyone else. If they're looking to developing themselves even more, what do you think?
I think I will, agree with that. But then again, I suppose it does depend from person to person.
Yeah,
For instance, for a person who's an introvert, all their interests and their thoughts are, scattered about, and they find it difficult to place them properly and be able to prioritize and see which thought needs more attention than the other. So if a person is an introvert, I would say in truth they do require some sort of additional help, and that can be brought about by journaling. It is a far more easier technique to get your thoughts out and
but
be able to see them, like you mentioned it, physically find them before your eyes. I
yeah,
suppose it becomes easier for a mind that is constantly on the run to stop for a bit, breathe, be able to see things before its eyes, and then decide on what should be more important, and what should be given more um, attention, and what should be taken into consideration more than the other. Yeah, so I agree with you on that for
it's
sure.
it's hard being an introvert, isn't it?
It is, yes. In truth be told, it is in fact one of the I think one of the major life challenges that a person has to go through if he or she is an introvert. Again, like it is some, I think introverts, if I am not mistaken, or if I am, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, if my memory is not, I mean, yeah, so, well, I have read through a research that had, you know, taken place a few years back, and it told and it showed that majority of the people were extroverts, and population, if went and if you did a research or if you did a survey, most of the people were extroverts, and the percentage of extroverts was higher than that of introverts. So in that manner, it has also become, it has also, you can say, uh, in a way, it has become difficult for introverts to function properly in this world, owing to the fact that they are not only misunderstood and misjudged most of the times, but they're also lesser in number than the extroverts. So we do, of course, go through a lot.
This is
It
so.
might be.
Yeah, go on.
No, please go on.
I'm sorry. It's just that that's the first time I actually heard something like that. As far as I knew, I think I read somewhere that uh, like the world is 50% extroverts and 50% introverts, but after you mentioned that, I'm like, whoa.
It has an interesting, let's say I can't really, I don't, if I'm not, I think, yes, it is actually, I did read this research somewhere, but I am not able to pinpoint what research it was and who had conducted it in the first place. But yes, it was a very shocking fact to me back then when I had come across it. And for somebody who's an introvert and somebody who feels it is a misfortune to have been born as one, that definitely gives some sort of comfort that perhaps the reason people do not understand us more is because we are very less in comparison to the others. And so people just do not find it that necessary to sit down and understand how the brain or how the mind of an introvert functions. It was sort of comforting if you can, relate to that, to find out that we are less in number and therefore misjudged for that reason,
Mm.
because people do not, easily associate with us on certain emotional levels.
Yeah,
It is sort of, it is a
what
weird perception, but
what people need to understand is that introverts, we're not more quiet or reserved because we're judgmental, arrogant, or we hate people. Okay, there may be some people who are like that, but generally speaking, introverts are more on the quiet side because their brains are wired differently than that of extroverts. For example, we have this neurotransmitter called acetylcholine, which is more active in an introvert's brain than it is in an extrovert's brain. This neurotransmitter is like dopamine, it's linked with pleasure, but the difference is that it makes us feel good when we turn inward, meaning we were able to enjoy thinking deeply and focusing on one thing for a long period of time without getting bored. Also, introverts like calmer environments because that makes it easier for that makes it easier for them to retreat into their inner worlds when there's nothing going on the outside that would demand their immediate attention. Another thing which I want to add is that acetylcholine is linked with one side of our nervous system, which is the parasympathetic side. It's also known as a quote unquote rest and digest side. Now, when we engage with our parasympathetic side, our bodies conserve energy and we withdraw from the external environment. Our muscles relax, energy is stored, and our heart rates and blood pressures become lower. This helps our bodies prepare for contemplation and hibernation, two things which we introverts love. It's amazing, right?
I'm just trying to process the information.
Sorry, sorry.
That is a lot. No, that is no. Please do not apologize. I'm actually really, you can say I just had no idea this was something that actually existed. I'm really happy to, have come across this sort of information. So it
Oh, I'm
definitely
glad.
makes a lot of sense. It definitely makes a lot
Yeah,
of sense.
I
I'm
mean,
very happy.
it's just so fascinating that
I think that it is.
we're so different from each other from a neurological point
Bill.
of view. Yeah, it's amazing, honestly.
It is amazing, subhanallah. It is definitely
Yeah,
amazing. Um, every person is wired differently. It is
yeah,
really nice to know.
yeah. Um, so I have a question. You took the personality test, right? The Myers-Briggs test.
Oh
Which
yeah, I did, of course.
which personality type did you get?
Um, the INFJ.
Same, same. I'm also an INFJ.
Subhanallah, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that is amazing. Then that means we associate on a more deeper level, I can say now, with
Yeah.
a lot of pride in
Yeah.
me that yeah, now we associate on a very intimate level, if you understand what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Being an
This is very
INFJ
interesting.
is the rarest personality type in the world according to that test. And even though I kind of feel special being a part of that 1%, I also feel as if it's a very big challenge. I mean, being an INFJ it's really not easy. It's really
I agree.
difficult.
Indeed, I agree. I believe
We're so
about,
we're so
we are like
sensitive.
one, I think, um, before taking the test itself, I had always felt out of place, terrorized, terrified, unconfident. Somehow I felt chaotic and not able to. It was just that I could not fit myself in any category out there. Everyone seemed to have some sort of connection with each other. They all found their places, and then there was me. I just felt out of place. Had no. It felt like there was no home for me. Everything just felt really hard to take in, and I became really irritable with that. Then for some reason, subhanallah, I came across this test, and it was, by Allah's will, of course. And I had taken this test. And when I did, and when the result came out, I realized that that test somehow brought in a closure that made me realize that this is perhaps the reason why I was finding myself so out of place, so
Mhm.
out of connection with everyone, because I was not from the common people out there. It was something different that, it just showed that I was somehow very different to others out there, somehow had a very, you can say, different personality from them. And
Mhm.
so I was not able to find myself a place with all of them. Yeah,
Mhm.
so it did bring in a lot of comfort, is all I wanted to say.
Do you personally know anyone else who's also an INFJ?
Actually, it is quite interesting because I write on Wattpad, and so I have come across a lot of people out there, and surprisingly, I think I have found about three or four of a kind or more, but three or four who have kind of grown closer to me, and we have interacted on, on a, you can say, more deeper level than I have with the others. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I have found about three or four more.
Wow. Wow. I mean, yeah, I feel as though now that you mentioned that the internet is filled with like I mean, it's filled with different kinds of people. I mean, there's some people whom you meet and you can become best friends with them, and it's so it. I mean, I find it so mind-boggling that you didn't even know that this person even existed, but here you are on the internet and you guys started talking and you eventually became best friends.
It
And
is fascinating,
this
definitely.
happens this
It
happens
happens.
internet
No,
has
it does happen. Yes, I do agree with you on that. It does happen, and it happens more than often. I think it is something that happens more than it would have happened with me in my real life. That is how commonly it takes place when it comes to meeting people through the internet, through screens. I think I have been able to find out. I have come across about two or three individuals who I befriended on a very
different
intimate,
level.
emotional,
Yeah.
yeah, on a very intimate, like an emotional level than with people who I met, in real life. So it is quite interesting to me, and it seems
Yeah.
a little weird, though at the same time people from real life do not make much sense to me, and then people from the world of the world of social media make a lot more sense. I do not understand how that works or how that functions, but it is how it is.
I think with some people whom we come across in the internet, we're able to we're more open with them um because we're not so concerned about them judging us because like we don't know each other and there wouldn't really be a reason for us to judge one another, right?
Definitely, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Yes, it becomes a lot easier because we are, I suppose, at the same time, we do not really befriend any person we think we are not not able to find ourselves comfortable with. And even if we do come across people on the internet, I mean to say that it is not everybody we interact with. It is only a few certain people who we feel entirely and very confidently comfortable with, who we open up to,
Mm.
right? I mean, we don't really go there and just interact with every other person we find. It is always selective. We choose who we like to open up to. And so in that manner, it becomes a lot more interesting and it becomes a lot more easier concerning the fact that we find people who we think we can associate with rather than, in our real life where we are limited to our interactions. I think at least for me, it is something like that, where I do not always come across new people. I do not always find myself before, a larger circle of people who I can choose from. On the internet, it becomes a lot more easier. It becomes a lot more simple to find different people and to understand who we can, be more comfortable with.
Mm. I also want to ask you something else regarding the friends you made online. Are they also from India or from different parts of the world?
Oh, no, they are all from different parts of the world. Yes, they are. None of them are limited to India. I have friends from a lot of different countries, actually. It is now that you ask me, yes, I do have a lot of friends from India too
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, but they are not limited entirely to India or entirely to this country. I have met a lot of people from I have met you, and then I've met somebody from Pakistan. I have met people from Europe, from Canada, Sweden, Netherlands. It just goes on like that.
Nice.
Just friends are it. It is not limited to India. Friendship.
Yeah, I met from social media. I met people from the States, from the UK, from Kazakhstan even, and
Oh, that is lovely.
Pakistan, uh,
MashaAllah.
Qatar, Australia, and where else? Malaysia, Singapore. That was a long time ago, but yeah, I did meet someone from Singapore online.
That
Uh,
is really lovely.
and yeah, the girl,
It
she was pretty cool. Yeah, she was pretty
Oh,
cool.
mashallah. Yeah, it makes us associate on the basis of traditions as well. Sometimes we are more fascinated by different things, by different cultures, traditions,
Yeah,
different norms, how different societies function. It becomes interesting when you come across people from different parts of the world. I
yeah.
think at least it becomes a lot more interesting. It becomes a lot more likable. The world becomes a lot more closer. I like the idea.
The world seems like a more interesting place to be in, right? After you meet these people from different parts, from different
It
countries.
becomes, yes, it does. It does. I agree with you on that.
Hmm. Um. So it's getting late. I think we should call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me, and it was really great speaking to you again. I hope you have.
It was.
I
I had an amazing time. Really, I do not mind that it is late at all. I am quite happy we still did this. I'm very thankful to you as well for, taking out time to be you to do this and not minding the late hours of the night, of
Oh,
course.
my
But yeah,
pleasure, my
thank you so
pleasure.
much.
Thank you, thank you. Hope we have.
No, no, thank you for
Hope we sleep well and take care. Assalamu alaikum.
same to you. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.